Hello, and thank you for joining me for News Desk. I'm Abby Ray. Today, we're going to cover stories about COVID-19 vaccinations, sports, podcasts at KWU, and more. The big story this week, and perhaps the one that will eclipse all others for the year, is the development of a vaccine to help fight COVID-19. Students, faculty, and staff are now beginning to become vaccinated against the virus, which has caused such sweeping social change and unrest across the country and around the world. We spoke with students and faculty on campus who had recently gotten vaccinated to hear their opinions about the overall process.
It did not hurt, felt like a normal shot, just real quick in the arm. And so, yeah, looking forward to getting my next one in, I believe, a week. So I'm going to be completely vaccinated here soon.
So it was a really easy process to get through the line, through the county. About 4 hours afterwards, the arm hurt for a couple days, but not too bad. For me, I only had just a little bit of chills and a little fatigue after the shot, but actually it was pretty easy and the shot was painless.
I am so excited to have gotten my first half of the 2 COVID vaccines. I'm really excited for everyone else to get vaccinated, hopefully by May, hopefully by the summer, so we can all get back to normal. And I really just want to go to the movie theater again.
The whole process to get vaccinated was really simple. I was just filling out some paperwork, waiting my turn in line, and then the shot itself did not hurt at all. It was just a little pinch, but that's how all shots are. I had to wait around 15 minutes, make sure I didn't have an allergic reaction, and now I just wait for my next vaccination. I'm really excited as more people get vaccinated because it gives me a sense of hope that maybe in the fall we won't have to wear a mask anymore.
One of the major impacts of COVID-19 has been the massive changes to the athletics schedule at Kansas Wesleyan. The disruption caused the virus has led to cancellations, rescheduling, and perhaps most impactful, the extension of fall athletics into the spring. That means simply that almost every single athletic team has been active this spring semester. We sent reporter JJ Barajas out into the field to ask some of his fellow student athletes how they're coping with the changes and what impacts them both as students and players.
It's honestly been really hard staying organized, but for the most part I go where I'm told when I'm told to.
I do think it's important in terms of individual growth and everyone working hard to get to their goals, I guess.
At first, I didn't feel like it was gonna happen with all the cases going on, so I believed I put all my effort to the fall.
I've made an Excel spreadsheet of my classes, when I need to do homework and where I need to go and what time practice is.
As far as the season itself, I really don't think it has any difference because we have a whole new team than we had last semester, and plus conference and playoffs are out of our reach, so we're just trying to get better every week.
It kind of sucks that we're expected now to be in shape year round. It's not impossible, but it's too demanding from our bodies, I believe. We're used to just playing a couple months, and now it's you guys have to be a year round. And
we practice 6 days a week for 2+ hours, and Sundays are our days off.
That just causes injuries. It takes us time away to go to class, do internships and stuff like that.
It's been hard mentally and physically, but adversity is there and we're getting through it.
I would say it's worth it in a way because of the memories you build, the distractions you get, and yeah, it's worth it, but it could always be better.
We have competitions every weekend, and we also have games, and then classes on top of that, along with clinicals.
In other news, KW Communications students continue to work on streaming every major music performance on campus this semester. The latest concerts we featured live last week was the annual President's Concert and the recital from KW professor Ann Gassman. As we mentioned last week, music isn't the only performance we'll be bringing to you this semester. The spring theater performance of Little Shop of Horrors is also scheduled for streaming in April. We'll let you know the exact time and date as soon as it's scheduled, so check back with us every week and be on the lookout for announcement on kwstudentmedia.com. You may have heard of the involvement of KW Communications Department in the documentary project that will be tracking the improvements and revamping efforts directed at the Smoky Hill River as it flows through Salina. One of the most recent undertakings of the creation of a video featuring Executive Director Jane Anderson, as she asked for donations as part of this month's Match Madness campaign, coordinated by the Greater Salina Community Foundation.
Hi, I'm Jane Anderson, the Executive Director of the Friends of the River Foundation. The Friends of the River Foundation is building an endowment at the Greater Salina Community Foundation for important reasons. First, the Friends have been an advocate for the Smoky Hill River restoration from the beginning, and we are excited to see the river going into construction early 2022 with water flowing by 2024. The Friends are beginning to fundraise for trails along the river to make this project all it can be and make it accessible for all. Second, the Friends offer cleanups along the riverway to not only clean up the waterway, but to share the story with our community about what happens to trash in the world's waterways. Third, the Friends are dedicated to children's education about the river and prairie to grow a new local generation to have love and respect for our natural world. Finally, your gift to the Friends Endowment will grow with time, and it will offer support for the future Friends of the River Foundation to always be the advocate for the Smoky Hill River for many more projects along the river, as well as support to help our citizens and visitors engage in nature. Won't you help in this great venture? Please give to the Friends of the River Endowment on Match Madness on Thursday, March 25th.
Now we're going to Hunter Payne with the KW Sports Report. Hunter?
Thanks, Abby. Let's see what happened last week. On Saturday, baseball had a doubleheader against Avila University, and they absolutely annihilated them, with the first game ending 15-4 and the second one ending 12-6. Women's flag football's game was postponed against County College. Women's golf won their duel against Concordia on Monday. Our softball team faced McPherson College in a doubleheader earlier this week and was able to come away with a 4-2 win in the first game, and they continued the winning streak by running up the score, ending the second game 7-3. And baseball just had a follow-up suit, and they faced York College in a single match. Let me tell you, they freaking destroyed them. They ended the game 19-4. Like, come on now, how does a team lose that bad? Maybe we're just that good. I don't know. Moving on to tennis, we have the women's team competing against Sterling College with the match ending 6-1 Sterling. I wish I could say the men's team broke the cycle, but they narrowly lost 4-3 against Sterling. Now, let's get on to what's going on this week at KW. Baseball faces the University of St. Mary in Leavenworth. I'd like to really see another explosive win from our boys. Volleyball is facing Bethany Swedes in the Maybe Arena in the KCAC quarterfinals. Make sure to go and support our Yotes. Next up, we have our esports team. They have been racking in wins and climbing the ranking charts. Our Overwatch team will be facing the University of North Alabama later this evening. Let's hope for some dominant performances from our masters of the keyboards. Flag football is competing in a mid-season tournament against Ottawa University, and then they'll follow that game up facing Midland University. They have to travel to Fremont, Nebraska, and we expect nothing less than a dominant performance from our girls. Both men and women's track will be competing in the Laurel Rooser Invitational on Saturday. Men and women's tennis will be facing Friends University at the Salina Country Club this weekend. Baseball has another doubleheader against the University of St. Mary, and we are expecting nothing less than an absolute blowout. After defeating the previously undefeated Bethel Threshers 28-21, KW's football team will be facing Tabor College this Saturday. This is an extremely important game for the Coyotes, and we are expecting a very good battle between the teams, with, of course, us on top. Softball faces York College in a doubleheader in York. Women's soccer is competing in the KCAC quarterfinals against York College at the Graves Family Sports Complex this Saturday. Now that's all I have for this week's sports. Tune in next week where I'll recap what's happening over the weekend and let you know what's coming up. As always, stay safe and roll Yotes. Back to you, Abby.
Thank you, Hunter. Now, King Fanene has been relentless this semester in his search to track down his fellow Pacific Islanders and introduce them to all of us on campus and in the Salina community. This week, he sits down with James Funga Hill, a sophomore sports management major from Norco, California, whose mother is Samoan.
So I am half Samoan, and I am also half Caucasian on my dad's side. And my mom, she was born in Samoa.
And where does your family reside, and where are you from?
Right now, my family, they currently live in Norco, California. and they've been there for the last 5 years.
Norco, California. Man, I think I also have some family there too. Man, it's so funny. You know, when you meet a fellow Islander, you always just think to yourself, I'm most likely related to this guy, and then turns out you most likely are.
Small world, man.
Oh yeah, a very small world. Come from a small little rock island.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what sport or extracurricular activities are you involved with on campus?
I'm involved with football, and I'm also part of the activities club here. Well, when I don't have work, I try to be.
How's the culture shock affected you when you came to Kansas Wesleyan?
Well, as you know, like when you and me are in the same year, when we came in as freshmen, there was about 3 of us, only 3 Samoans on the entire campus. There was you, me, and Pete Timothy. And it was very different, you know, because in California, there's actually a lot of us, you know. And coming here, there's like, it's so weird thinking that a lot of people don't even know that your people exist. So, you know, it's really interesting, and it's like weird that I have to always explain where I'm from and what my culture's about.
Do you feel like there's enough diversity on campus?
I believe that there's always more room for more diversity here, mainly because many of the students here at Kansas Wesleyan University are from other places around the country. So I feel there's still always room for more like diversity from like other cultures.
I mean, shoot, there's only 6 of us. I want 60 of us here, to be honest. I want a small little tribe.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh my gosh, going to almost every single game and seeing all the polys of the haka. That would be amazing. I mean, if Pac joins, there's going to be 1, 2, 3, and Jesse's still here. 4, 5. That'll be 5 people.
Yeah, because I mean, some people have asked if I've ever thought about like teaching the haka to the people here, but I just believe it'd just be kind of weird if it was just like 5 Polynesians and then just a whole bunch of like non-polys also doing the haka. I mean, it's not that anything wrong with that, but it's just like I always believe in teaching the haka if people take it seriously enough, because you know, like a haka means a lot to our people.
They got to understand that when we bust that dance out, we're going to war.
Yeah, that's the thing. If I do teach it to someone, I just hope that they do take it seriously and they perform it, like, you know, as in if they take it as like we're recognizing our culture and we're banding together, you know.
And speaking of banding together, I know it's probably going to be the same answer that almost every single person has asked. I have asked, at least. If you could bring one thing from our Polynesian culture to Salina, Kansas, what would it be and why?
If I could bring one thing from our culture, it would definitely be the unity that we all have. Because as far as you know, like they say, like with Polynesian families, like, you know, the good thing about having a big family is you have family everywhere. Also, the bad thing about having big family is having family everywhere. But I feel like no matter where you go, like if you can meet a random Polynesian from another state and you still have that same like chemistry as you would if someone you've known for like a lifetime. Mm-hmm. You know, just like how you and me clicked when we first came here. Like you're from Arizona, I'm from California. We met our freshman year and we become like really good friends and even family respectively.
Honestly, I mean, as soon as you find somebody with that same likeness, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're Hawaiian, Tongan, Samoan, Palauan, Micronesian. You're family. Sorry, there's not a lot of us, so we got to stick together.
Like that's why a lot of people know like Polynesians as like, you know, loving people. You know, like when they think of Polynesians, they think of like these big, loving and like caring people. And I think that's something that like a lot of us do take pride in, you know, because we are very welcoming to other people into our culture, and we take a lot of pride in what we do.
That is not the answer that I was thinking that you were going to say. I thought you were going to say food. Almost every single person that I've interviewed has said food.
That was right there. I do miss my mother's cooking a lot. And
wouldn't the Pani Popo sound amazing right now?
I think about it every day, every night. I miss my mom's cooking. Like it's something you just can't replace, you know. It's something that you can't just like recreate.
Ooh, some short ribs right now.
Ooh.
All right, we got to stop before we make our toast. Super duper hungry. Lewis, I want to thank you for taking the time out to interviewing.
Thank you for having me.
Back to you guys. Hope you have a good one.
Thank you, King, for continuing your search. Food and its relationship to our culture, identity, and society continues to be explored as part of The Sandwich Factory, a podcast created this semester as part of the Digital Publications course in the Communications Department. The latest episode centered around food and social status. A traditional British low tea was served as part of the episode, and history professor Dr. Anita Specht told listeners how the idea of tea time was developed.
Afternoon tea was something that was started amongst members of the upper class, members of the gentry or nobility, and they called it low tea. And that was served at around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, where people would have their tea as a pick-me-up in the afternoon, and then they would eat, scones and cookies and light sandwiches. The working class people, of course, can't participate in that because they're working. And, they would have their tea then, as Paul says, in the evening when for what we call dinner, or other people call supper. That would be high tea, and that is pretty much like a full meal. And that is where, the lower classes, the working classes, would be able to get their pick.
KW alum Amber Benning told listeners about her relationship between food and social status and how it can definitively still be felt. She says dining in a particular establishment can be an interesting experience if you don't pay careful attention to social cues, such as dress codes.
Right. Look, sometimes I go to really fancy restaurants in my sweats just to put everybody in their place.
Why not?
What happens when you do that?
I get crazy looks.
Yeah, what's the responses for that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not that extreme, but we've gone to some very fancy restaurants in jeans and maybe a really nice dress shirt, but everyone else there is, suit and tie, and they'll look at you and it's almost like you're uninvited. Like the servers take really nice care of you and everyone that works at the restaurant is fine, but everyone around you is kind of,
The Sandwich Factory drops every Monday at noon on KW Student Media and will continue running till the end of the spring semester and returning in the fall. Make sure you watch out for the next week's episode, as you might see some familiar faces. That's all we have for you this week. Thank you for tuning in, and if you're interested in more information about anything we've talked about today, feel free to check out kwstudentmedia.com or the app. Have a wonderful week. From us at NewsDesk, I'm Abby Ray.